I wish I knew what the number one thing is that will help your swimming in the open water and how it's going to affect your race performance. Stay tuned for a video on the number one tip for triathletes swimming in the open water. This is the most important part of open water swimming. If you don't pay attention to this, this is really going to affect your swimming outcome in your race. Most people don't look at the amount of strokes that they take in a race. For me, I'm going to give you some examples of why stroke rate is so important and how it's so important to be able to predict how well you're going to do in your next race. In the open water, there are no walls to push off, to give your arms rest, to make you glide, and to take less strokes per distance that you're trying to travel. Let's look at a 70.3 or 2112 yards of swimming. In the 1.2 mile swim, I had over 1,000 strokes. If I compare that to my last swim, which was 3,000 yards, I had less than 900 strokes. So I went a further distance with less strokes than I would in a race. What this tells me is that I need to pay attention to my stroke rate. I need to practice a higher stroke rate to get ready for my races that I do. The reason why stroke rate is so important is because if there are choppy waves, then you're going to be able to maintain your momentum without having the waves push you back or slow you down. Having a higher stroke rate can keep you going straight and narrow towards your finish or your buoy that you're aiming for, and not get pushed off to the side by the waves that are coming from your left or your right. A higher stroke rate also helps with interference from other swimmers. Raise your hand if you've been tangled up with another swimmer during a race. If you have a higher stroke rate, you can make up for that lost time a lot faster than if you're used to having a slower stroke rate. Now, swimming distance per stroke or increasing the amount of distance you travel for every arm stroke that you do is really, really, really important. This skill is crucial for allowing your body to be nice and relaxed in the water and moving through smoothly. When you look at the Olympians at the distance freestyle events, they are very smooth. They do not have a high stroke rate or turnover rate. They have a nice smooth stroke, pace themselves evenly, and they're able to do the event very fast with a very smooth stroke. If you look at open water swimmers and their championships, then they're going to have a higher stroke rate because they have to overcome the current and the waves. If you want to be able to predict the time that you're going to go for your event, then go ahead and practice swimming out in the open water. Do the time trial of your event and see how many strokes it takes you. If it takes you 1,000 strokes to complete 1.2 mile swim and your event that you're training for is a 70.3, then you're going to need to do that in the pool and see what your time is for that amount of strokes. Increasing your stroke rate typically causes more fatigue in the muscles and your heart rate to spike up a little bit. Training this in a pool and training this in the open water are the only ways you're going to get your body used to being at that high intensity for that long of a time period. Comment below if you look at your stroke rate and what it is. Did you notice that it's different from pool swimming versus open water swimming? Or are they about the same? If you want more open water swimming tips, then click here. If you want to get over your fear of swimming in the open water, click here.